Right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Q&A, where we find questions that other business owners have and we do our best to give some possible solutions to help resolve their issues. So today we have another problem from another business owner who writes in saying, "Hi, everyone. I just launched a new store. It's been about 2 months now and we have some buyers and a bit of site traffic, but very low conversion now and no sales. We would really appreciate some help and feedback. I'm new to business. I have been running a lot of Facebook and IG ads to drive traffic to my site. However, I have begun to notice that all the people that visit my site either one, spend under 20 seconds, and two, only visit the homepage and don't go past. The issue I'm having is that I believe that the content on my site is really good quality, as well as I have been partnering with influencers to get the word out, which can be seen on IG. However, I still have not seen an increase in traffic or engagement. We have also professionally shot all the product photos to ensure the site looks professional. However, there is definitely something I'm missing out, as it's not converting customers or even getting customers to view the product page. I would really appreciate any help and ideas to get more traffic and sales. If anyone has experience in this or notices I'm missing something, it would be really helpful so I can get on the right track." Well, that's a really interesting problem, really great premise, and something that I think a lot of business owners today go through, and in fact, even now, right? In an ever changing environment where everything now is all digital, and those who maybe have been in business a lot longer before, where things were a little bit more analog, are finding it's increasingly more difficult. And that's even more so to the people who maybe grew up in this sort of life. So there's a lot of problems that we could probably help abate, but it's hard to pinpoint because there's so many different factors that come with this problem. But let's give it a try. So we could firstly start by optimizing your homepage for engagement and clarity, right? So ensure that your homepage immediately answers the question, what do you sell and why should customers care, right? It's a good way in which you are able to get them focus in on what it is that you're selling right now, where they should be putting their time and effort, and that they should not leave until they've made a purchase. Maybe it is finding more of your niche and putting that more so on the homepage to make sure that the people who are there know that this is the only place or the best place to get to go to in order to get what it is that you might be selling. So it could be something that even is practical, like eco-friendly activewear, or even something specific for adventure seekers, or maybe something in baking, whatever that may be. Anything that you can find more to niche or add more specificity to the customer base so that they feel like it's really just the place they need to be. That way they can get the things that are important for whatever the activity is that they're doing. Maybe adding some clear call to actions, direct visitors to product pages with prominent buttons, maybe improving the buttons that you have already set on your store. Add a bigger shop now button that also does actually create some positive feedback. People are more accustomed or inclined to click on the big shiny things. So having something like that on your page, or at least towards your shop, will help direct more traffic in that way. Could be. We also could have an explore collections page to give them more of a place to directly encourage buying behavior, right? If they are put into what you would call a collections page or a shop per se, they understand that whatever they are looking for is something that they are thinking to purchase, whether they can see themselves making the purchase or not. But you are now having them in an engaged sort of shopping mode if you put them in a collection, or at least direct them to that. So that could be one way in which you can help add more spice to your website to create more of an intention for your shoppers, so that way they're not so much dropping off after about 2 seconds on your homepage. You could also take a look at auditing your ad strategy, right? Targeting sort of on Facebook and Instagram is a really difficult art. It's very hard to pinpoint, and it's always changing, as both these platforms have algorithms that change from time to time depending on what big Mark Zuckerberg believes. But outside of that, it really requires every business owner to really be on top of their ad strategy, or at least have people in the wings, maybe people in marketing who have a better grasp of it, right? So redefining your targeting audiences to focus on high intent users, people who are actually engaged in shopping online, or maybe engaged with shopping on their phone, and would actually yield better results than those who might come across your ads but not really contribute anything more than just a scroll or a click accidentally. So a really good way is to try and refine and retarget your audience when you're using your ads. Add a landing page, right? Adding a landing page at least ensures about a 20% increase in your spend, or at least in your acquisitions, because it actually forces the people who are intent on making a purchase to leave maybe one site, but also direct them to the information that you believe is the most important. Because sometimes the first ad that you sort of bring them in with is very much a short brief. There's not a lot of information on what it is you're offering or what the special might be. And once you've gotten them onto a landing page by them clicking the ad, that's your opportunity to now give the most important information, and the information that might be the best seller or best feature to help find that solution for the customer. So a really good idea is to create a landing page, or at least something in the background of your ads, to source more leads that way. Retargeting is also another idea that you can take into your social media. Retargeting your ads in a more efficient way by finding the people who actually responded positively to your ads initially, and finding more like-minded individuals or like-minded profiles that Meta or Instagram can source out by their similar behaviors, and find people who are like persona wise, the people who have responded positively to your ads in the past. This actually helps you find better ROI, because you're spending less time on people who are actually not really intent on purchasing products that you might sell, and now more so focusing on those who have shown an affinity to make a purchase for things maybe not yours but like yours, and would definitely be interested, or at least have you on the radar when it comes to making a purchase. And you definitely want to make sure you are top of mind when you're making these things. So we could also take a look at maybe how you're managing your product pages, right? So we could look at improving the product page persuasion, right? So highlight more benefits that your product might offer to your customer, not just the features, but really make that connection between the product and feature, as well as what it will do to benefit the customer at the end, and really tie home that emotional connection. That actually does so much to help the customer understand the solution that you would provide by offering this product. That's really what you are trying to help do in this process. The person coming to your website or your web page might already have an issue that they know, or maybe they don't know, which meaning they haven't really quite been able to articulate what the problem might be. But if you can give them clear solutions, or places that they know they want to find themselves, it can help to find the connection between what their problem is and how your product can actually help to find that solution, right? So we can also look at adding customer reviews for social proof, to maybe reinforce how other people have found your product in the past, and contribute to positive reinforcement for your customer who's currently making that decision. If they see other people through your, providing ample or rather other customers showing that they've also gotten really great service from you, and or they've really experienced an improvement in their business operations, or whatever it is that you might be offering. Maybe their own personal lives have been transformed or improved by what you've been able to offer. So it's really important to provide that, because it adds that reinforcement, so that the person who's making a decision on your website might have a better understanding of how this is actually going to help improve their lives, right? You can also take a look at bringing up urgency and scarcity, right? It's really important for the customer to understand that there isn't really an abundance of these solutions out there, especially if it's something that is specific and tailored to help them fix what their problem is. Really, you don't want them feeling as though it's either not important enough for them to consider making a purchase now, but also that the solution will somehow find itself in time. You really want to build in the idea that the urgency of the problem is something that they need to have fixed now, and the sooner they make that decision, the better. So building in a sense of urgency in how you set up your product pages would probably help them to understand that, hey, really there aren't that many other solutions out there or things comparable to what you might offer, because it's a little bit more specific or tailored to what their needs might be, right? And then the last thing is evaluate influencer partnerships. You might have influencer partnerships that were working at one point, but the tides change. We have to understand that what your customers looking at right now might not be what they're looking at in 5 years, let alone 5 months. So audit the influencers that you are actually using, or showcase what other influencers might be able to offer to your brand, and or make sure you are looking outside of the traditional influencers and brands that you would think typical to your brand, because you really want to branch out to find that sort of sliver of customers that maybe others haven't been able to find as well. But you also don't want to go down a path where you're the only one or the first person to make inroads. Make it very easy on yourself, right? So understand the market for what it is and see where you can carve out a bit of space. But if that means just taking a look at what the other bigger brands are doing and how they are marketing to different segments, demographics, take a page out of their diary. It doesn't hurt to actually mimic what these other bigger corporations that might be a bit more successful are, or have a little bit more staying power, because they can add to your authority as well as make it easier for people to understand what it is that you actually sell. Because if you are in and around the players who are more established, they're not really asking what it is you do. Now they're more so asking what can you offer them. So that's a really good way for you to add to that. So guys, I really hope that these were some solutions that may have helped this person or any other business owner who might have similar issues currently with their own stores and are having issues with trying to find their customers. There's, like I said at the beginning of the video, not a lot of ways that you can definitively find a solution to fix something like this. However, these might be things that you can look at to help improve the situation. And in fact, that might be what you need to, start to get the wheel turning again. And you can slowly implement these things as things go along to make yourself more efficient, to make the business more efficient, and in turn, hopefully to improve output, right? And then you can make adjustments. These might not be what work for your business, but maybe a few things that you take from this video might be something you can apply to your own personal business, because we all know we have different businesses that operate at different sort of tempos. But thanks so much for listening. I'll be back with episode 3 soon enough. Thanks. Bye.